So we are going to commence our practice today sitting in lotus position, so cross-legged position at the front of your mat. Your legs are crossed, your back is nice and straight, your neck is straight but soft, and the chin is slightly dipped to the chest. If you find that your knees come above your hips when you sit in this position, take a little block, as you can see here, and just place it underneath you. And you can sit at the edge of the tailbone in cross-legged position. For those of you who have a bit more stiffness in the hips and that's quite uncomfortable, just come here on the knees with your hands on the knees. The important thing is your straight back. For this starting position, it's just a very small and short meditation. The important goal here is to have a straight back and a soft neck. It's not important to force yourself into a position for the sake of it. So find a comfortable seat here. And then inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. We're going to bring our awareness to the breath here. We are inhaling and exhaling through the nostrils. And begin to observe where the breath arrives within your chest. Is it short and tight within the chest? Or is it long and deep into the diaphragm? There's no need to force and no need to have any judgments or make any changes. Just simply follow the breath in and follow the breath out. And it's very common when you begin meditation to have a long list of to-dos pop into your mind, or indeed thoughts. And don't try to block them out or push them away. Just simply observe them without any reaction and watch them float away as if they were clouds, bringing your awareness back to the breath. And we're going to breathe here for 5 breaths, following the inhalation through the nostrils. Inhale and exhale, release. Inhale, follow the breath, pause, exhale, release. Inhale, follow the breath. Exhale, release. Inhale, follow the breath. Exhale, release. Straight back, straight neck, nice and loose. Chin tucked to the chest for our last observation of the breath. Inhale, follow the breath. And exhale, release. We're going to open our eyes and very carefully and mindfully remove the block if you're using a block, and bring yourself into child's pose. In child's pose, we bring the knees to the outer edges of the mat and we touch our toes, leaning back onto our hips with our hands stretched out in front, and we relax our forehead to the mat. If this is not available to you, you can also bring yourself into a child's pose with the knees closer together. Just find your comfort zone here, and you should feel a little stretch in the hips so that you are challenging yourself. Child's pose is a resting position. Your heart is below your body and it drives down the blood pressure. So if at any time during this class or session you feel the need just to relax a little bit and to come into a pose that will bring your breath back into balance and your body back into balance, just bring yourself to this pose. That can be at any time during the class. So when you're comfortably in child's pose, you're going to continue to follow the breath in through the nose and out through the nose without any changes or adjustments, no judgments, just follow the breath. And we'll begin to incorporate some movements here. So as you inhale, we're going to press the fingertips into the mat and clutch the mat as if we're dangling from a rock face. And exhale, release this grip. Inhale, activate the hands, pressing into the mat. Activate the wrists really strongly, holding on, and exhale, release. Inhale, activate the hands, the fingertips, the wrists and forearms, the biceps and triceps, and on your exhale, release. Zip the belly button into the spine, activating your core. And bring yourself to tabletop position. In tabletop, the shoulders are stacked firmly above the wrists and the hips are stacked above the knees. We're going to begin some cat-cows. So as you inhale, you're going to arch the back, looking towards your navel in cat, and exhale to cow. So we're going to inhale. The neck is nice and loose, looking towards the navel, and exhale, dip the back, stretch the neck in cow. Inhale, exhale in your own time. And if you want to add more elements to these movements, you can work from the base of the spine all the way to the top of the neck, beginning the movement from the base of the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, through to the top of the neck. Keep the eyes closed so you can feel all of this movement waking up the spine. We're going to do circle of eights with our shoulders and arms and wrists. So just moving in a circle of 8, clockwise, counterclockwise. We'll move the circle of 8 down to the hips. A free movement here, bringing yourself into some cat-cows with the eyes closed, waking up the spine, soft neck. From here, we're going to pop our toes and press into our first downward dog of the day. Our belly button is zipped into the spine. We're pressing back through the heels. It's very common to have very tight hamstrings and calf muscles here, especially with the first one of the day. So just pedal them out. Alternatively, come to a child's pose as demonstrated here at any moment. The neck is nice and long, the head is loose. Maybe shake your head in a no softly to show the looseness of the neck, no tension. We're going to begin to crisscross, walking the feet up towards the front of the mat and feel the nuances of these little stretches on the outer edges of the calves. As we come forward in a forward fold, the belly button zipped into the spine, the feet and the legs are active as we hang here ragdoll. From the waist down, gravity is doing all of the work, and just be mindful of some space between the ears and the shoulders here, and follow the breath. Just demonstrating how to move deeper into the pose here. Inhaling, straightening out the back, and exhaling, forward fold. And we can drop the hands to the mat. Following the breath. Observing what's happening within the calves, the hamstrings, and all the way through the spine. The core is still active. And on an inhalation, we're going to move upwards vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly coming to a standing pose or Tadasana at the front of your mat. We're going to begin at the front of our mat. Our feet are firmly planted into the mat. Our calves are active, our kneecaps are pulled up, our core is active, meaning that our belly button is zipped into the spine. There's lots of space between the ears and the shoulders, nice relaxed shoulders, and the hands are in Anjali Mudra. We bring ourselves to Tadasana and inhale, high mountain pose. Exhale, move to the right hand side. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, move to the left hand side. Strong core here for balance. Inhale, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, forward fold. And we're going to inhale, coming back vertebrae by vertebrae to a standing pose. Hands in Anjali Mudra. And exhale, inhale, high mountain pose. Exhale, release to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, release Uttanasana. Inhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, coming back to standing position, Tadasana. Inhale, high mountain pose. Exhale, hands to the ground, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the back. Exhale, plant the hands on the mat and step back into plank position here. Press out through the heels. The core is active. Zip the belly button into the spine. Microbend in the elbows. And if at any time this becomes too much for you, just drop the knees to the mat. As so. Inhale, drop the knees. Exhale, shift the body forward. Inhale, lower the body to the ground in one piece. Pop the toes and come up to baby cobra. Inhale. Exhale, release. Let's do another cobra. Inhale here. And exhale, release. No weight in the hands. Inhale here, no weight in the hands, check them, and exhale, release. We pop the toes, press the kneecaps into the ground, and press up in one piece to a half plank and back into downward facing dog. Space between the ears and the shoulders here. Press back through the hands with a micro bend in the elbows, belly button zipped into the spine, and pressing back through the back heels. We inhale, look forward and begin to crisscross, walking ourselves to the front of the mat, feeling all of the muscles in the calves. And exhale here to a forward fold. And inhale, coming back up to Tadasana. Inhale, high mountain pose. Exhale, release to forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, plant the hands on the mat. Step back to plank. Option to drop the knees if this becomes too much for you. Inhale, drop the knees. Exhale, shift the weight forward. Inhale, drop the rest of the body to the mat in one piece with control. Pop the toes. Inhale here to your cobra. Pop your toes. Engage the pubic bone and press up through the arms into downward facing dog. The core is always active to protect the lower back. And breathe here. Inhale, look forward and step forward to the front of your mat. Uttanasana, lean forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Uttanasana. And inhale, stand up, coming up vertebrae by vertebrae. Inhale, high mountain pose. Exhale, release all to the ground. Inhale for your halfway lift. And plant the hands on the mat. Step back into half crescent lunge with the right leg back. And we're going to reach up here with control in the midline. Core is active. Hips are active. We're going to lengthen out that front leg, the left leg, and just feel yourself into a stretch in the calf and the hamstrings of the left leg here. And bring the bend back into the leg. Pop the right toe and lift back into half crescent lunge here with control in the midline. Core active, hips active. We'll bring the right hand down to the mat and bow and arrow left arm up into a twist. Breathing and reaching as you inhale. And exhale, release. We're going to lift up into high crescent lunge. Inhale. And exhale, plant the hands, pop the back toe and lift the left leg with control back into plank. Inhale, drop the knees. Exhale, shift the weight forward. Inhale, lower your body to the mat. Inhale in cobra. Bring yourself through the rest of this vinyasa with control and mindfulness, and we meet you in downward facing dog. Just breathe here. I'm going to inhale as we crisscross the feet back up to the front of the mat. And exhale in Uttanasana. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, standing at the front of the mat in Tadasana. Inhale, high mountain pose. Exhale, release Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, plant the hands and bring the left foot back to a half crescent lunge. We're going to reach into the air with control in the midline. So we're squeezing those hips together and really controlling the core. Bring the hands to the mat as you straighten the front leg, come up onto the heel, and begin to feel the stretch in the calf and the hamstrings. Begin to know your body, know its limits, and just do what little you can today. Pop the back foot there. Re-engage the core as you lift into the air, right through to the fingertips. And exhale, both hands to the mat. We're going to leave the left hand down as we bow an arrow arm, reaching up through the right arm. Our shoulders are as if they're stacked against a wall. And exhale, release back to center. Pop the back toe and with control, bring the right leg back into plank. We're using core here. Ensure you have a bend in your elbows as you move yourself through your own chaturanga and vinyasa, and we'll meet you back in downward facing dog. And just breathe here. If you want to pedal out the feet, feel welcome to. So we're going to work on some core strength here. We're going to inhale and bring the right knee to the right elbow and press back into three-legged dog. We're doing that 2 or 3 times. We're also working the knee into the left elbow and pressing back. When you're back into three-legged dog, you want to balance all of your body out. Bring that right knee forward on an inhale. Adjust yourself and ensure that you come up into warrior one using your core. Press the weight out through the left pinky toe. Your knee is stacked above your ankle, and exhale, release. Bring the right foot back and we're in plank here. Going to bring ourselves through Vinyasa. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. So we're going to build now with the left foot a little bit of strength in the core and in the arms. So just micro bend the elbows here before we begin. Keep breathing. We're going to look forward. As we inhale, bringing the left knee to the left elbow and press back. Left knee to right elbow and press back. And left knee to left elbow and press back. You're then going to bring with control your left leg forward and adjust yourself, getting ready to come up to Warrior One using the core, protecting the lower back. Press into the front knee and open the hip to the left. Strong midline core is activated and you are reaching with energy right through to the fingertips. Exhale, plant the hands on the floor, back to plank. Inhale, drop the knees. Exhale, shift the weight forward. Inhale, lower yourself in one piece to the ground. Pop the toes. Inhale to cobra. No weight in the hands. Pop the toes. Press the pubic bone into the mat. Push up in one piece and back into downward facing dog. And breathe here. Going to inhale, right knee to right elbow, exhale, press back, and we're going to walk it through the hands, bringing ourselves controlled and carefully again into Warrior One, right leg forward. We're going to inhale here and exhale into Warrior Two. Check your back hand that it's nice and aligned. You're going to find your drishti or your focus, which is the middle finger on your front hand. Focus there. Reverse the palm. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, release back to Warrior Two. Close the eyes here as you inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, Warrior Two. And one more time. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, back to Warrior Two. We're going to bring the right elbow to the right knee and reach down and around, coming into Parsvakonasana. Your shoulders are stacked as though they're pressed against a wall, and your weight is lifted by the core, so you're not really leaning on that knee. If it's available to you, bring the right arm down to the mat. And we're going to bring ourselves into a bind or a twist. If that's not available to you, stay in Warrior Two or in Parsvakonasana. And bring the right hand back down. Reach the elbow back to the knee and bring yourself back into Parsvakonasana here. Core is the center of this pose. You're reaching down and bringing yourself back into Warrior Two, checking the back hand is aligned. Space between the elbow or the shoulders and the ears. We're going to straighten up that right leg and we're going to square our hips to the side of the room. So just bring the hands out nice and straight to lean forward and roll down into triangle. Your right hand is on the inside of the right leg. It might even reach the ground. You can use a block here also for support. And try not to strain the neck. Inhale from the core. Just going to adjust our feet as we reverse the arms. So the left arm is forward and you come down in a reverse triangle with the left hand outside of the right leg. And reach up here. Do what's available to you. Inhale through the core. We're going to reverse the hands around again. Straighten up that front leg and hands on the hips. We're going to make sure our toes are pointing out a little bit here and maybe shorten the distance between our feet as we come into a bit of a horse pose here. Come down with a straight back. Try not to lean forward here. Bring your focus to the middle fingers and don't forget to breathe here. And exhale, release. Hands to the hips for a moment. We're going again into horse pose, straight back. Lower yourself down until you feel the burn. And breathe. And come back up out of that. Our hands are on our hips are square to the side of the room. We're going to create a bit more distance between our feet here. And we're going to ensure that our toes are slightly pointed inwards and that our knees have a micro bend before we inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, forward fold. We can bring our hands into a little bit of crossed arms there, like ragdoll. Be mindful of the space between your shoulders and your ears. There should be plenty of space there. Mindful of the slight bend in your knees to protect the joints. And let gravity do the work here. Your core is active. Your legs are active. And breathe. You can release the hands to the center. And just follow the breath here. You might want to walk yourself to the left-hand side and maybe take hold of the ankle, the foot, the shin, the knee, or close by. And maybe walk yourself to the other side. Stretch there into the side body. And exhale back to center. And you might want to walk through the legs there, stretching the lower back. We're going to bring the right hand to center and twist, bringing our left hand up into the air and breathe, looking upwards. Strong core here. Replace the hands. Your left hand is down. We'll bow and arrow our right hand up into the air. Breathe here. Soft neck. And exhale, release. We'll bring our hands to our hips. And on an inhalation, we'll move up vertebrae by vertebrae with core activated to standing pose. And here we're going to point our front leg forward and just adjust the back leg here. We're just showing the space between the legs. The left leg's on the outer edge of the mat and the right leg's on the outer edge. You can shorten that distance if you have more flexibility. We inhale to lengthen the spine and then exhale, come forward in the direction of that front leg. It's okay to have a little bit of curve in the spine here as we just lengthen out the calf and the hamstring on the right hand side. You're going to feel a deep stretch here. And your hands might arrive to your knee, to your shin. That's perfectly okay. Just breathe here. You might want to find places of tension in the back of your right leg. And if you squeeze them nice and strong and release, this helps to work out that tension and lengthen out the stretch. Don't forget to breathe here and to have your core always switched on. So with the core active, we're going to inhale and halfway lift, and lifting from the core back to center. We'll bring the left foot forward, standing in Tadasana, hands in Anjali Mudra then. Just breathe here. And bring your awareness to your body and any differences from one side to the other. Inhale, high mountain pose. Exhale, release. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, plant the hands on the mat. Step back into plank. I'm going to move through Vinyasa, through to Chaturanga, and back to Downward Dog in your own way, mindfully. We'll meet you back there. Just breathe here. We're working with the left leg. We're inhaling to the chest and back into three-legged dog. Active core as we do this, and we'll bring the leg in through the hands. Adjust the feet as necessary. And inhale from the core. Lift yourself to Warrior One, the knees stacked above the ankle. Strong core, active arms. Exhale to Warrior Two. We want to check the back hand is nice and aligned. Self-cue ourselves. And breathe here. We're going to flip the front hand and reverse the warrior. Inhale, exhale, release. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Protect the lower back. Exhale, release. Strong core here. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, release. We're going to bring the left elbow to the left knee, just balancing there, not putting any weight on it, and Parsvakonasana. The shoulders are stacked. It's as though you're pressing against a wall behind you, and all of the lift here is coming from the core. And if it's available to you, we're going to bring the left hand down, the right hand back, and roll into a bind here. If it's not available, come back to Warrior Two. And work on strengthening the legs there. Release the left hand down, bring the right hand back up. We're going to shift back into Parsvakonasana, using always the core to move us from asana to asana. And we're back into Warrior Two. Self-adjust and breathe. We straighten the left leg, the front leg, and we're going to square our hips to the other side of the mat. We're going to open up the hands here and inhale, reach forward and drop the left hand to the inside of the left leg and reach up through the right hand into triangle, lifting always from the core and mindful not to collapse into our lower back here. Lift from the core and rotate the arms, bringing the right hand into the front and the left hand to the back. You might want to adjust the feet as you can see here. And we're going to reach forward, bringing the right arm to the outside of the left leg and reaching up through the left hand. Reversed triangle. Little micro bend in the front knee always here. And always lifting through the core. Bringing the arms down together, reach from the core, hands on the hips. So we're working with the toes slightly outside, and we know we're going to come down into horse pose here. So we're just balancing out the hips. And lower yourself into horse pose. Breathe here. And exhale, release back up to stand. Take a few breaths and prepare yourself as we'll go one more time. Just reach out. Inhale straight back. Try not to lean forward here. Work those calves. Core is active, the entire pelvic floor is lifted here. And exhale, release. We're going to create more distance between the legs, hands on the hips, toes are pointed slightly inward and the knees are slightly bent, so micro bends in the knees there. Before you inhale, lengthen the spine and exhale, fold forward. The feet, the legs, the thighs and the core are active here, and from the waist up, gravity is doing the rest of the work. So bring your hands into a bind here and continue to breathe. We're going to drop the hands to the mat. Walk them behind the feet to create extra stretch in the lower back if they reach, if it's available to you. Just play there with your own body, eyes closed, to become mindful of the internal practice. We're going to bend into the right knee and bend into the left knee and just feel what that does in your own body. Always breathing here. Bring the hands back to the hips. Inhale, come up, core is active. I'm going to shorten the distance between the legs and bring the left leg to the left-hand side of the mat, the right leg to the right-hand side of the mat. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, release down towards the left leg. You can see also micro bend in that leg. You can drop the hands down, see where they arrive. And feel a deep stretch in the calf and in the hamstrings of the left leg here. And don't forget to continue to follow the breath and keep the core active. Going to inhale here. Step the right foot forward, coming to the front of the mat. Our hands in Tadasana and just observe the body here. So we are going to move into some balancing poses now. So staying on the front of your mat as you are, just bring the arms to the hips. And we're going to begin to speak now to our right leg, just kind of moving it into the mat, letting it know that we're going to be balancing on the right foot and leg. And activating the right leg now, we're going to bring the left foot, the sole of the foot, to either our thigh, the inside of our thigh, or it could be at the inside of the shin or the knee, wherever it arrives, wherever it's available to you. And here with square hips, pressing the sole of the foot into the right leg, we're going to, if it's available to us, start to move the hands up into the air, building our own tree. The core is strong here, and you can play around, if this is really available to you, with closing the eyes there for your balance. If you're doing this with eyes open, find a focal point in front of you, a drishti. And bring the hands back to the hips. Release the left leg down to the ground mindfully. We're going to begin to do the same on the other side. So we'll just communicate with the left foot there. Bring the right sole of the foot to wherever is available to you on the left leg. Hands on the hips to square back up. Find your focus point or drishti, and when you're comfortable, bring the hands up into the air, building your tree. And if you're confident there, you can play with closing the eyes. Breathe here. And exhale, hands coming back into an Anjali Mudra to the hips, and release the right foot down to the ground. with care and mindfulness. So we're going to move into Eagle here, or Garudasana. We're bringing the left leg and wrapping the left leg around the right leg. Bring it to wherever is available for you. Once you're comfortable there with square hips, bring the arms out and wrap the left arm under the right arm, twisted as demonstrated. And breathe here. We're locking the legs together, squeezing the arms together. And as you inhale, bring them out in front of you and up. Strong core. Breathe here. If you feel very confident and secure in this position, you can begin to bend from the waist down here, squeezing everything together. If not, just stay as you are, upright. And unwrap the hands, bring them to the waist, mindfully unlock the left leg. We're going to do the same on the right hand side. So we'll lift the right leg and wrap it across the left knee. You might reach just the knee. You might reach right underneath the shin. It's up to you. Bring the arms out and wrap the right arm under the left arm in a bind. And as you inhale, you reach forward and upwards. So we're just giving the demonstration there from all sides. If you're confident in this, you can begin to mindfully, using the core, squeezing everything together, bend over. This is going to prepare you for further asana or postures in the future. Squeeze everything together. Hands come to the hips, release the leg, and stand back at the front of your mat. We're coming up here into Utkatasana, so the feet are together. We're pressing the knees, the hips, the core, everything tight together, strong. I'm going to show you from a side view here, Utkatasana. And we're just showing you here the tailbone. A lot of people have the tailbone out so that they can squeeze and move downwards. It's suggested for safety purposes to bring the tailbone in. Let's lift the left leg up here with control, a type of Vrikshasana or a tree. And with control, if it's available to you, we're going to come back into a warrior 3. Breathe here. Self-adjust and breathe here. And if it's available to you, drop the left leg down and we're coming into a high crescent lunge. Strong core. The core is lifting you to each asana. In this high crescent lunge, we're going to exhale, bring the hands to the mat, walk back into plank, and bring ourselves through a vinyasa and meet ourselves in downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward and walk to the front of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, we're coming to Tadasana. We're going to bring the feet together and inhale, Utkatasana. Mindful of the tailbone, bring it inwards to protect the lower back here and squeeze the limbs together. Inhale, lift the right leg up here, find your drishti or focus. Exhale, strong core. We're coming back into a strong warrior 3. We want the arms, the back, and the back leg that's lifted all aligned. So continue to self-adjust here. And exhale, drop the right leg to the floor and come up into high crescent lunge here. Hug the midline. Exhale, hands to the mat. Pop the left leg back into your plank. Inhale, drop the knees. Exhale, shift the weight forward. Inhale, lower the body to the ground. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, release. Pop the toes. Fix the pubic bone to press yourself up into downward facing dog. And just walk out the legs there and see how it all feels. And breathe. We're going to drop to our knees here. Come back onto our heels. So we're just sitting on our hunkers here. Breathe with the eyes closed. We're going to bring the legs forward to the front of the mat. Our knees are slightly bent. So we're going to take the block and press it through our thighs, squeeze them together, and using the core, lower ourselves all the way to the ground. You might want to adjust the block, ensuring that it's possible to squeeze the block firmly with your thighs. We're going to touch our heels with the tips of our fingers just to understand the correct space. Inhale, hands into the air. Exhale, elbows down to the mat. Inhale, lift the body into a little bridge here. We bring the hands under the body in a fisted position, and we walk up onto the shoulders. And breathe here. Squeeze the block in between the thighs. We're going to release the hands here and the shoulders and bring the back down vertebrae by vertebrae mindfully. And you might want to bring the knees to the chest here, massage the lower back by moving in small circles, clockwise, counterclockwise. And release the feet back to the mat. We're going to have another little bridge. So inhale. Exhale, elbows to the mat. Inhale, lift the body there as you bring your hands into a fist under the body. Walk up onto the shoulders, squeeze the legs against the block, and breathe here. And slowly release the hands, come down vertebrae by vertebrae. Maybe bring the knees into the chest for a little lower back massage before we release the feet to the mat. And if you want to try a full wheel here, especially if it's the morning, to create a little bit of energy, I invite you on the next one to come up into a wheel. Keep the block there for support. If this is not available to you, do another bridge here, or relax with your knees to your chest. Press up into full wheel. Squeeze the legs against the block and mindfully lower yourself down head first. Vertebrae by vertebrae, slow, controlled movements for safety. Knees to the chest. Exhale, release. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together here and open out the legs. So we bring our right hand to our stomach, our left hand to our heart. Close the eyes here and relax. We might self-adjust the shoulders and the neck to create space. Follow the breath here. We're going to use our hands to close the legs and bring the knees to the chest and give yourself a little lower back massage. We're going to use our knees to roll up and lift ourselves slowly into a sitting position in the center of the mat. We're going to bring the legs out in front of us. To create space, we're going to just move the glutes outward. We're going to bring the right leg, the right sole of the foot into the right hip here, inside the thigh. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, release down to the left leg. We want to keep the back straight here, so you might reach the knee, the shin, the toes. The important thing is the straight back. It's not where you actually reach to. Alternatively, if you find that this is very tight, you might want to use a strap, in which case you'd set up the pose in the same way. Open up the strap here, hook it around the left foot. So inhale to lengthen the spine. Hook the strap around the left foot. Keep a straight back here, working with the arms and pull. That has the same benefits as working without the strap. And just follow the breath here. We're going to inhale and walk ourselves back to center. We'll release the right foot and bring the left sole of your foot to the inside of the right thigh. Inhale to lengthen the spine before exhaling and coming either to the knee, the shin, or the foot, wherever is available to you, or indeed use the strap. The important thing is to keep a straight back as opposed to a rounded back here. And continue to follow the breath. I'm going to inhale and walk the hands back to the midline. We'll bring the soles of the feet together and we're going to grasp them with our hands. And some people here, they like to put the elbows on the inside of the legs. Others like to put the elbows on the outside of the legs. I like to put on the outside there. As you just inhale and pull the legs in towards you in a little ball, creating the stretch here. And continue to breathe. The neck and the head is nice and loose and relaxed. And we'll mindfully move out of this posture, bringing the knees together. And we're going to point the fingers forward as we lower ourselves to the ground using our core. We're going to bring the block underneath our body. So place the block here slightly under the hips, slightly towards the lower back, in a way that you can lift yourself very comfortably. So some people place the block in an area where it creates massive discomfort. This block should be an aid to help you to lift your legs as so and be quite comfortable to remain there. So just play with that. Once you arrive in this position and you're supported by the block, point the toes and breathe here. This pose has the same benefits as an inversion as your handstand or headstand. We're getting the legs above the rest of the body, just in a simpler way. Continue to breathe here. And for safety, to come out of this pose, we're going to bring the knees into the chest. Just support yourself with your hands as you walk the feet down. Remove the block and lower yourself to the ground vertebrae by vertebrae. You're going to feel a lot of space in your lower back here. You can bring your knees to your chest and just give a little lower back massage and feel the space you've just created. We're coming into happy baby, so our hands are going to take our feet or our ankles or our shins on the inside or outside. And we're going to press our hands into our feet into our hands and pull our feet with our hands into happy baby. Your lower back is flat on the ground here, so play with that until you find the spot. Really pull the feet and press with the feet against the hands here. It's an active pose. And exhale everything, release to the ground. Going to cactus arms here, or bring your hands in a cross if you've plenty of space. We're going to wrap the right leg over the left leg and lower the legs, the lower end of the torso, to the left hand side. Your left hand might touch the knees, your right hand might stretch out, and your gaze goes to the right hand side. If you want to increase the depth of the twist here, just bring your knees closer to the left hand or armpit. And if you want to decrease, just shimmy the feet back towards the center. Do what feels good here. I'm going to use the core to bring the lower torso back to center. Square up the lower back here by just hugging the legs. Bring the hands back to cactus or cross and wrap the left leg across the right leg and lower the legs to the right hand side. You can bring your right hand to the knee. Your left hand is stretched out or cactus arm to the left, and your gaze is to the left hand side. Again, to increase the twist, you can move the knees closer towards the right hand. Or to decrease, you can walk the legs back towards center. And breathe here. We're going to engage the core as we lift the legs back to center. Hug the knees, bring the knees to the chest here. Massage the lower back. Maybe bring the forehead or the nose to the knees, curling in a little ball here, squeezing everything as tightly as possible. And then we're going to exhale and lower ourselves into Shavasana, corpse pose. We're going to begin to wake up here from Shavasana by wiggling the fingers and the toes. Bring the knees slightly bent upwards. Inhale, reach behind with the arms in a little stretch. And we're going to mindfully and carefully, still with our eyes closed, bring ourselves to a fetal position facing the right hand side. And just rest here for a moment, following the breath and observing, is it deep in the diaphragm or short and tight in the chest? And we're going to mindfully, slowly, and still with our eyes closed if we can, bring ourselves back to the sitting upright position from the beginning of our practice, whether it was on a block or not, whether we were on our knees or not. And when you find yourself in this position, we're going to bring our hands to our knees, a straight back, straight neck, nice and soft. Our head is tall as if hanging from a string. Hands in Anjali Mudra. Let's follow the breath. Inhale, hands to the third eye. Inhale, hands to the mouth. Inhale, hands to the heart. And thank you for sharing this first 12 weeks to wellness practice. Namaste. So just a little thank you for joining this yoga session today, week 1, the body. The session will be split into 20 minutes, 40 minutes and 60 minutes, so you will be able to practice at home or on your travels for the coming week. Thank you for practicing with me and welcome to 12 weeks of wellness.